Manchester United played West Ham and made a winning start to the Premier League Summer Series, beating West Ham 2-1 in New Jersey. So Manchester United 2, West Ham 1 in New Jersey at the MetLife Stadium. One amazing fact that I found out, much later after the game was that that game had more attendance than Chelsea versus PSG at the Club World Cup final. So think about it. When you're big, you're big. Bruno Fernandes scored both goals, and he scored a customarily cool penalty early on, and also a wonderful, amazing, world-class shot from outside the box to secure 3 points in the competition. At MetLife Stadium, where everybody was super excited, fans were excited to watch Man United play. And basically, if you look at like the starting lineup that we had at the beginning, you could tell that United were kind of testing out what Rúben Amorim intends to try out, basically playing his first team or a strong team, or what could be like his first team come the first game of the season in the Premier League. But obviously for West Ham, Jarrod Bowen pulled one back for the Hammers, basically with a very clinical finish. And then obviously Altay Bayindir had a couple of saves in the dying seconds and all of that. But we still didn't start Bryan Mbeumo, but this is the starting lineup that Man United started compared to what I chose as the predicted lineup in the match preview. We had Altay Bayindir in net, obviously Onana is still injured, and then in centre back we had Matthijs de Ligt, and then at right centre back we had Lenioro, left centre back we had Aiden Heaven, and then in mid we had Kobbie Mainoo and Manuel Ugarte. And then on the left flank we had Patrick Dogu, on the right flank we had Amad Diallo as right wing back, and in the 2-10 position we had Bruno on the right 10 and Matheus Cunha on the left 10, and then in striking position we had Rasmus Højlund. Now, the game started pretty well. We had one counter attack against West Ham. It was interesting to see Wan-Bissaka play so well against Man United, but we had one counter attack against West Ham where Rasmus had tried to have a shot, and he looked like a good player, like the player that we're looking for to have. Like every bit of the money that we spent to get Rasmus Højlund, he looked like that. Was running, was pressing, was attacking, was holding up play, was passing in between. It seemed like he's worked on a couple of things, but he still needs to build momentum and all of that. And you could tell the difference when Chido Obi, was brought in as a sub, and you could tell how how much bites were lost, basically, which goes to say that obviously Man United needs some signing some places, or maybe because we don't have Joshua Zirkzee, it makes things look a little bit different and odd, especially bringing Chidobe now. It seems that Chidobe needs to learn a lot. There's a whole lot that Chidobe needs to learn, but those intricate plays, he had it. But for Rasmus, it was pretty much same. He was pressing. It felt like we had an outlet with him, but yeah, and we didn't start Bryan Mbeumo, and these players, according to Rúben Amorim, they were supposed to play for like 70 minutes, and then obviously Rúben Amorim would sub them off or make a wholesale change for the entire team. And that was what happened, basically. Rúben Amorim made a wholesale change for the entire team, and we had something going, basically. Like, it was a good game to watch. It was a good game to kind of see where Man United is when it comes to gelling and all of that. And the one thing I know that this game taught me was basically that we need one extra midfielder, one Ugarte-like kind of midfielder, someone to lead from the midfield, basically to help, like, and this is more like an Ugarte backup, not Casemiro, obviously, because obviously the speed has not been this. It's not the same with Casemiro, but we need an Ugarte backup. We also need a potential, so if we have an Ugarte backup, that's someone who will pair or play with Kobbie, right? And then we could also have the same with Bruno. Bruno plays at the right 10, we're good. Mbeumo plays at the right 10, we're good. Amad plays at the right 10, we're good. So it felt like Rúben Amorim was testing out all his combinations. And this time around, he played Bruno and Cunha, and it felt like they were trying to build a relationship. You could see that relationship, and that's what Amorim has been pressing about for a long time, that we need to build a team that has good relationship on the field, because if they don't have good relationship on the field, it's going to be a kind of like a struggle for them to catch up or for them to meet up and all of that. So that was what we noticed, and I was pretty impressed with what I saw with the team. I was pretty impressed with what I saw with how they applied themselves, or how they're trying to apply, especially in the first half, how they're trying to apply to Amorim's system. And the first half really went well. Bruno scored that penalty and that amazing goal and it came from a press. And then there was even a goal that Ahmad scored from also a press and nutmeg, and all of that, of a double nutmeg of Manuel Ugarte to create an assist for Ahmad, and obviously Ahmad didn't score. So I could see that there was a communication between Manuel Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo, and Kobbie Mainoo was also every bit of a player that we were seeing, controlling the game, making those intricate passes, beating presses and all of that. I was so impressed with Kobbie Mainoo. I was impressed with Manuel Ugarte. There's a difference when Ugarte is also playing, and then obviously Matheus Cunha as well, trying to create chances, trying to create passes, trying to do intricate plays and stuff. It was good to see. It was wonderful to behold. So these were the major positives we saw. Obviously, I don't think Tom Heaton made the game, but we had, Altay Bayindir played the entire 90 minutes and it was good. He was confident on the ball. He seemed a bit comfortable on the ball. Maybe one or two loose passes and all of that. The defense was solid. Matthijs de Ligt was mopping up. I remember listening to the game while watching the game. I heard when Rúben Amorim screamed at Matthijs de Ligt when Jarrod Bowen was pressing on Eden Heaven. But obviously de Ligt was being told to watch his back and all of that. Then Jarrod Bowen just snuck that ball when he snuck the ball before Eden Heaven got to slide. So, but yeah, he scored the goal. It was a difficult goal. Even like Altay Bayindir had no chance in that goal. But obviously, we didn't have Mbeumo to test out what it would look like to have those kinds of plays, because and so basically Amorim continued to push forwards, with Højlund lashing a decent chance, and also the ball rebounded to him after a pass was cut short, and Aram-Saka denied Fernandes on the opening when picked out by a superb long ball by Lenioro. Lenioro was trying to find that was the one chance that immediately Lenny had that ball. So that's the kind of connection that Rúben Amorim is looking for. Immediately Lenny had that ball, Bruno started running and all of that. So that was pretty much what it is, or what happened. And in the second half, we maintained, the pressure, and then obviously West Ham's Max Kilman was also hassled out of possession by Rasmus Højlund, which also created a possession, created an advancement by Bruno Fernandes, busting clear to face Areola in a one-on-one situation that made him to kind of lose it and all of that. So these are the things that we saw and noticed, and all of that. So that was basically what really happened in all of that. Then a couple of minutes later, like with 52 minutes on the clock, Mainoo pounced on a straight pass, out by Areola, and then Fernandes collected the pass in second half and then floated quite a beautiful finish, taking the advantage, of Areola a little out of position and all of that. So this was Bruno's goal. Then if we're to then there was Amorim changed, basically at the 60th minute, changed the entire team and brought in Altay Bayindir in net, and then basically had Altay Bayindir in net, and then he changed the back line to Harry Maguire, Tyler Fredrickson, and Luke Shaw, and then left wing back was Diego Leon, right wing back was Diogo Dalot, and then obviously in mid he had Casemiro and Toby Collier, and then in the 210s he had Mason Mount and Jack Fletcher, and then in attack it was Chido Obi. So it was kind of like, it felt like we didn't have any any bite as much per se. The levels kind of dropped, but the momentum was still on, and there was actually one big chance in injury time when Jarrod Bowen fired goalwards, only for Bayindir to pull off a tremendous save to preserve the lead and 3 points ahead of our next meeting against Bournemouth, who beat Everton 3-0 earlier. So it was a good game to watch, and Man United really played well. If I were to give player ratings, I would think that overall the team, for the entire team of that played, especially in the first half, had an 8.0, and then in the second half, the entire team that played had like a 6, no, maybe 7.0 performance all through the game. They were still holding the fourth, and they were defending well, especially for players like Tyler Fredrickson, and Harry Maguire was clearing things out, and Luke Shaw also playing technical and all of that. Diego Leon is still learning the ropes and learning everything. But one thing I could tell is that the team were cohesive. They were cohesive. They were, together. They were still playing, together and all of that. So it is one thing. It's an amazing thing to watch that these players were turning up on the day and all of that. So that's pretty much what happened, and that's pretty much the match review for the game. Rúben Amorim's tactics, I could see it, you could see it coming to life. You could see some of the things that he wants to work on, or wants time to work on with his players. You could see that the players are trying to implement everything. So let me know your thoughts and feelings about the game. What do you think about each of the players? What do you think about Kobe Mainoo's performance? What do you think about all the other players who played in this game and how they performed? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts and feelings about the game, and what do you expect Amorim to do. And obviously, we're hearing that Bryan Mbeumo could actually even play in the next game. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts and feelings about how Amorim did and what is happening, because I see that most Man United fans are a bit worried about what's going on with Amorim, and they are saying stuff like, what I would just say is the Sack Amorim brigade is out now. That's what it is. But the truth is, we have to remain positive. We have to back the manager, because he has not even started. This is actually the start of his process. Last season was just a learning to understand what the league was all about, and then this season is to take your opportunity and gain, advantage on the league, and seeing as there's no European football and all of that. But let's see how that goes. We're gonna watch the game again against Bournemouth, and then we will do a match preview, review, and all of that. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. We have been hitting milestones, going to greater heights. We're, I think, 18 or 17 subscribers away from hitting another milestone. So if you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. We're growing. Right, we're growing. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. I don't take all your subscriptions and everything. It makes me feel like, we are, growing together as a team. We're growing together as a community and all of that. So thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye, and God bless.